Little sample of some of the great Quake that happened yesterday, and we hope that this day is duplicated with more action. Of course, this, gentlemen, the other big thing is that we did have a couple players, unfortunately, basically drop out of the tournament yesterday. Cygib lost to Avic, is out, and Nosfa lost to Dewey, is out. And today we could have many additional fall. Let's take a look at the bracket as it stands today, because a lot of this action you are going to be seeing right here. Immediately, Jackie, any games coming up that you are like, oh, yes, I cannot wait to watch this one?
Oh, there's a couple of tasty games on the horizon, honestly. I think if we glisten our way up towards the top immediately, though, we've got to give some limelight to the one UK flag we can see on this bracket, right? Garpy. Obviously, the 3-0 against Tox, bittersweet for a lot of fans, but probably iconic that he's finally made his way back into the league. Issue is, he gets the final boss straight away, right? Like, that's going to be potentially a bit of a pummeling, and could leave Great Britain looking more like sad Britain.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one. Garpy's had some good matches in the past with Rafa, but that was a long time ago. He's been out of Quake Pro League for a while. We'll have to see what he can do, because it has been a while for him. But look at the other matches. We've got at least 5 or 6. Like, how well dramiS played against Cooler, and now he's playing against cypher. That's an unlikely matchup. Dahane versus Razy. You have to see what Dahane can do against him. But Chain versus Benga, that is going to be absolutely unreal. And if Base, Xenoku, depending on that match, if Base plays Hilson straight away, straight afterwards, we've got at least 6 great, good games coming up throughout the entire course of the day.
Yeah, when we hit those quarterfinals, sparks are definitely going to be flying, and there'll be plenty of explosions and fireworks before then as well. Let's take a look at today's schedule, because many are asking, all right, like, what are we getting here on day 2? And this is just for this stream right here. We're going to have, I believe, 7 or 8 additional matches that'll be over on our secondary stream on /Quake2, and that means that every single game throughout this competition is going to be broadcast. You are going to be able to watch that action, and so no game will go into the void of the internet not to be seen, which is pretty excited. You can follow along your favorite player, your favorite team, maybe your least favorite player because you want to watch them lose. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You're going to get to see all of them, and that is what is important. So mark that down, set your schedule, make sure that you got plenty of snacks and water and, whatever else you need to enjoy entire day of Quake. Now, gentlemen, you ready to talk about our first match? Because we're not going to dilly-dally too much. We're going to be jumping right into the action. Our first matchup today is going to be a round of 16. It's going to be cypher versus dramiS. And, cypher is a player that many expect. I mean, many say he is a player that can win a tournament at any time. However, in QPL, we've yet to see cypher truly be cypher.
It's scary, isn't it? The prospect that we haven't even seen cypher back on his sort of true form, really. I think at this point, it's kind of universally accepted. I've said it multiple times. cypher is like my Quake crush. The man is unbelievable. When he's on form, he's so good to watch. He's such a genuine guy in person as well, and it is pretty crazy. If we get cypher coming out tonight and actually being able to put some big classic cypher numbers on the board, it could be so sick to see.
Yeah, cypher has a huge amount of pedigree, skill, so much raw, natural talent. I've kind of got to the point where I feel like for cypher, it's just a matter of time. I don't know how or when, but he will win at some stage. He says that he feels like he's playing well. Sometimes he doesn't get all the results he requires, like, for example, the first one against Base. That's when he actually mentioned it. But looking at straight after, it's 2-1, 3-0, 2-1. He's been very consistent before. A few stages ago, he was on and off, but he's looking much, much better. And he's definitely one of the, I would say, top 5 favorites to actually take this.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely a player that you need to be watching out for, and excited to see where he is going to sit. This is the first time we'll have seen cypher in the QPL Stage 1 finals. However, his opponent, not the first time we've seen him. dramiS, coming from the Americas region. However, last night beat Cooler 2-1. And a lot of players really enjoyed that matchup. There was definitely high octane, a lot of action. But dramiS, right, already coming out of the gate saying, hey, I'm here to play. I'm ready to bring my best. And, what do you think about dramiS? Started with you, Jackie.
I think that's the dream scenario for a player like dramiS. If he just comes out and just gives it his all in bracket play, he could be really talented. We've said it multiple times throughout all of the seasons, even back in the first few stages. He was super flashy to watch. His rail's unbelievable. Like, his gun skill is up there. It just felt like sometimes it wouldn't really be shown. But after what is a bit of an iffy season, at least now in the stage finals, already besting Cooler, that is a big statement, right? Because it's Cooler. Even if Cooler's had a rough stage, taking him down still means a lot.
Yeah, looking at the stats, looking at the scoreline, 0-3, 5 matches in a row. And then week 6, he was like, yeah, I've kind of had enough of this now. I want to actually try and step things up and get out of relegation. And look at that, Max to 3-0. Dewey, I'm not going to lie, beating Dewey 3-0, doesn't matter who you are in the Americas, is very difficult, challenging. Dewey plays so reserved, it's just hard to even take 3 maps, let alone 2 or 1, etc. So you can see those last few weeks, he's really put the time and the effort in to make such drastic improvements. I casted him yesterday against Cooler, and he was just out of his mind, just ridiculous. At one point on Deep Embrace, after just 4 minutes of play, he fired 35 rails, hit like 60% of them, and it was just unreal. It wasn't even the fact that Cooler played bad. Cooler played really well. He's very, very strong, but dramiS still managed to outplay him in most minor scenarios, you could say. But if he played like he did against cypher, cypher just needs to watch out in this matchup.
Yeah, and well, we're going to be jumping into this one in just a second, but I like what you said there. If you didn't get a chance to watch that match, well, you definitely better tune in to this one right here. cypher versus dramiS coming up next, but first we need to see the picks and bans. Going to help us determine, what can happen in this matchup here. So Molten Falls, Tower Koth, and Runes are the maps on the table. Jackie, looking at the champion picks as well. What do you think about this?
I think both of these players are going to be really happy with actually how this veto's gone. This actually is set up to be a pretty tasty game of Quake, to be honest with you. Like, the champion picks seem good for both sides. I'm sure dramiS, very proficient in all these champs I've seen in the past. He loves a bit of saw lag. He's quick on Strog. Like, this man is very good when it comes to movement. It's always been one of his biggest boons. He doesn't mind a bit of scale bearer at times. Then you go over to cypher, and this is just vintage cypher. When he wants to get out there and just start meme mugging, being a bit of a boss, right? Keel at the end for the flashy points. I like it. I think this is going to be a 6 series.
I think it's going to go to map 3. I don't think I'd say that, especially with how dramiS played in the first half of the stage. But in terms of the maps, dramiS' 2 best maps, Molten Falls and Runes, are there. cypher, a little bit curious because he's very, very good at Molten Falls. I feel like Molten Falls and Deep Embrace are his best maps, but he's actually banned Deep Embrace. I'm not too sure it's because of the fact that it depends on the situation you put yourself in at the start of Deep Embrace, how good you are with your top mid control, listening out for those audio cues, going back and forth for the items. It can be a bit of a coin flip depending on how you're feeling on the day. So maybe he prefers the larger maps today. Maybe he feels like against dramiS it could be better, but he needs to seriously be careful and cautious on all the movement that dramiS is going to put himself in. Because for dramiS, especially in Molten Falls, there's a lot of angles he actually holds, but it's very common, it's basic. You kind of make the assumption he's going to be there all the time. So dramiS needs to be a bit more unorthodox on his approach against cypher when he gets challenged.
Well, Americas versus Europe in our first matchup here for day 2 of the QPL Stage 1 Finals. We are going to be hopping into this game in just a moment. So, Jackie and Lethal, I'm going to leave it up to you to tell this story. I'll be back after the matchup. Have fun, guys.
It's lovely. I started the day with both my dads, but now I've just got the one. Harry, are you ready for this, mate? You excited?
You know me, mate. I'm always ready, especially for this matchup. A lot of people expected cypher versus Cooler, but no, we've got dramiS versus cypher. And the fact that now we've got dramiS' 2 best maps going into this, all large maps too, favours dramiS heavily. But the only reason I feel like cypher has actually banned Deep Embrace, he probably had a look yesterday against Cooler and was like, yeah, I don't really want a piece of that.
It makes sense, right? Like, it's fair enough, but I completely subscribe to your theory. Like, looking at the veto, I think champion-wise, it's fairly level. It's reasonable. Both of them are going to be happy. Map-wise, there is definitely an edge for dramiS. Like, he's had some huge games in the past on Molten. He's been able to really get into it quite easily and gets a sleeper hold on the game. So that could be a scary prospect if it goes that way. Here's the flip side, though, Harry. It is cypher, and I could just sit here and wax lyrical about this man all day because he is the Belarusian bruiser. Like, he is ridiculous at the game when he's on form.
It's ridiculous. I think it's just a matter of time until he wins the tournament. We don't know if it's going to be this one, the next one, 10 years' time. It's just a matter of time. He knows he's producing the results he's needed for a long time now. For the last couple of stages, he's been looking very good, high level of consistency. But when he does lose, it's never by a large margin. It's only by the smallest gap here and there in the scoreline, and he needs to try and close that if he can.
Yeah, we've had some really competitive series from him, and hopefully this is going to be one of them. As it is day 2 of the Quake Pro League stage finals, and we have got 2 big name players in the server. Live in the flesh, we're ready to kick this one off. cypher on Galena. We're here on Molten Falls, and he's going up against dramiS, rocking Scale Bear at the start us off.
cypher had a fantastic spawn at the start, could put the totem in an orthodox position and managed to get the heavy. He's taking his time here. dramiS does have the slight stack advantage, does have another totem up, but where is he going to place it? He is looking for that overstack. So at least that way, if he gets the overstack, he can solely focus on the heavy and just contest the mega when he sees fit. Putting it in front of the telly, so at least does a little bit of damage when he goes through, and also an indication of the whereabouts on where dramiS is going to go to in terms of his paths. But so far, pretty standard. cypher has the bare map control. As dramiS that's for the rocket. Direct. Second one did a little bit of damage, so did this one, but dramiS needs to get away. cypher is probably looking to try and catch him from that top mid angle. Sadly, misses that first rail. May have to leave him be here, Jack.
Yeah, he went over the lip. Was looking to land the shot with a rail, but couldn't quite connect it. In the grand scheme of things, though, it shouldn't matter too much, as we've got about 5 seconds between the major items. They've set themselves up so that dramiS can get himself the mega. Heavy's going to be up in 2 seconds as well, so that will be snatched by cypher. He's also got all 3 of his totems already in place. The pocket heal could be ginormous if you can play around it, but the chip damage coming out is certainly suiting the American man himself.
You're not wrong there. cypher, due to the stack dramiS is going to have for a while now, he needs to make sure to keep out of range. Play the range game. Stay around medium to long. Just keep getting that chip damage done with the rail. That's an indication of where he is, so it's been quite a while since dramiS has made any kind of movement, but if he finds those 3 totems, that'll be huge. Great first rail. This could be approach. Oh, he fell off the mat. That's the worst way to start things off. dramiS was very lucky to get that. cypher had a fantastic stack to even take that bout, but unlucky for cypher, has already taken such a huge amount of damage on the spawn and needs to get away. Maybe go to those 3 totems, overstack as soon as possible.
Oh, Harry, I was getting flashbacks of being in Poland and just seeing CNZ go flying off the map on kill. Oh, man, cypher. That's not what I expected coming into the game. It's not the way I thought we were going to see the first frag established on this one, but it is how it goes. And dramiS makes his entrance. Straight back in as well with the ball rush. He's looking for action, but he's going to be stopped in his tracks, and he's low now. His stack actually in a bit of a rough spot, potentially, Harry.
It's not looking good. There's no light on spawn. He's going to get chased down by cypher, possibly. See if he gets his rail. He does, but he gets one of his own. He's only on 10 HP. He's going to make the assumption he will get the 50 down below, but the mega's up for him. Perfect timing from dramiS. But it needs to keep in check these lights. Go for the rail one afterwards if he stays alive during this next fight, but cypher is the one who takes it and finally gets to equalise the scoreline.
That's one way to get yourself back in the game. Tie the scoreline up. 1 kill apiece. Major item-wise, we've still got about a 1 second split between both of the items. Heavy is going to be up soon. He's a little bit paranoid about the push as well coming around here. Luckily, we'll be able to grab himself the heavy. dramiS on the rotation back over towards Mega, grabs it. Now, we could see another fight coming up. The drive-by with the rail, but it's not going to land. And they again opt to just create space between one another.
cypher needs to try and keep dramiS away from these light armors whilst he keeps the item control. Major items still haven't been segregated enough. We're sure that will change over the course of time. Got another totem in his back pocket if he does need to use it. First rail looking very good. Now on a similar stack. He's going to go for the approach, dropping down with the LG. But dramiS has got 50 behind him, but goes for the bull rush. cypher's just trying to stay alive. The totem's going to help out massively. Both of them missed that next rail. So important for both of these players. But will he be able to catch him on the LG? He does a huge amount of damage. It's roughly the same stack, but is cypher going to get this next frag? Yes, he will. That was great stuff. Great pressure. Pulling him off when he needed to. But he takes the rail. He's only on 30 HP. He is railable. Needs to try and do whatever he can. Gets to 50 from down below. The mega is not up for another 10 seconds. But if the light's there, which is not looking too good here for cypher. Just needs to try and stay alive or make the rotation.
Does get his overstack off, picks up the mega as well, but of course at this point, It's not going to benefit him too greatly. Has to head up the bounce pad and get into an awkward encounter. Dodges the ball rush. Oh, back up and forth consistently up the bounce. And it will be the shotty to finish off cypher as dramiS ties it 2-2. A very awkward fight between the two of them. But it ends with a stalemate on the scoreline as we're getting close towards the halfway mark here on Molten. This is a map that we said would favour dramiS at the minute, though. dramiS put into an early grave. cypher straight back in from the spawn, plays aggressive.
Yeah, Scale Bearer is a chunky geezer, especially with DLG in the hitbox. Took him down nicely then. 3-2 in favour of cypher. Got great map positioning as the stack he needs to take this next fight. Willie, though, how's it going to go out? First rail. Looking good. Great damage with the second rocket. Small amount from the second one, but still more than enough for him to push in. But look at that. dramiS with the rail of his own keeps cypher at bay. Gets to heavy, and he's got the overstack. As you can see, dramiS hasn't really checked that position that often for the totems, but he comes out. Both LGs are in play. dramiS is the one with the lowest stack, picks up the light and the health bubble, but it's just not enough. He's still overstacked. He needs to find these totems because it's getting way out of control here, Jack.
He's had those totems up for so long as well. Like throughout the basically entirety of this duel, he's been able to have that overstack available to him when he needs the pocket heal. That was a close call though. Both of them really stripping back the flesh, trying to salt the wounds. The run in from dramiS. He'll be able to grab the heavy, gets away. Nice fadeaway damage as well as the rails pulled out. Both of them going for these audacious shots. They're not going to connect. And timing will favour dramiS as he skedaddles quicker back over to Mega. And his stack's looking good, Harry.
Looking healthy. He's only got 3 minutes 40 left. Great first rail. He's only on 36 HP. He's not going to go for those 2 health bubbles as of yet. He's made the assumption that dramiS could be dropping down there. He's biding his time. Good play from cypher. He knows there's always a possibility there, so he wants to wait and see what dramiS does first in terms of action. He's had a look. 10 HP. Luckily, the totems there. Still railable. Both items aren't giving up for a while, so he needs to concentrate on getting the next light. Holding that timing control. Good stuff from cypher. Just trying to hear the whereabouts on where we could be going, but this could be bad for cypher. He needs to rotate around, try and get away. Just waiting for dramiS to see what his next move is. If he does drop down or not. Realises that he hasn't. He's got away with his life once again.
And dramis's rail being a big boon here for him, allowing him to just get himself a slight edge into a lot of these close fights. At about 1.2k damage, 50% accuracy with the weapon. And it is coming clutch time and time again. But we're getting to the point where potentially some clutch gameplay needs to start coming out. He does have that beneficial starting stack to work with. He's got a big stack right now as well, and he's chasing down cypher. Getting a frag here would be huge. It would put him in just a 1 frag deficit. You could make that up quite quickly, especially with the amount of time that's left on Molten. But cypher, he is just trying to burn that clock down. He's running around so that all the sand in the hourglass falls away. He's prepared for the push as well, looking up towards the sky and praising the sun as he burns through him with a rail. The fadeaway connection is going to do a lot of damage though to tank cypher down. He goes for the gamble play straight on top of the Mega. Calculated clean as he'll slay his way through him.
That was great stuff from cypher. Even though he went for the Mega, if dramiS had the rockets out, he would be in deep trouble because that angle with the rockets on that staircase to Mega is very difficult, and you kind of have to use DLG, and he will have the advantage in terms of damage dealt before he switches back to the LG. So good stuff from cypher. Very well played. dramiS is still at a slight disadvantage in terms of stack, but the damage done with that rocket could be curtains for dramiS. Great rail there from cypher to seeing where dramiS could be going, but dramiS has only got 1 minute and 30 left on the clock. He needs to make something happen. But at the same time, if he does frag cypher, he needs to make sure it's a good one, so he's got a decent enough stack in order to push him for the next fight. But great first rocket, a little bit damage from the second one, as he's going to try and go back through to the rail room. dramiS, it's not looking good for him. And look at the overstack from cypher. Very healthy, very clean. Will he about to clean him up? Yes, he does with the totem through the telly. 1:05 left, Jack. Not looking good for dramiS. It could be map number 1 for cypher. Even if he takes this next frag, will he be able to? Yes, he does. 7-2.
And what's crazy about it as well is I think a lot of this map has just been decided by the weapon prioritization we're having coming out from cypher. Like, the rails were super crisp from dramiS. He was doing so much damage from a distance that all of the fights looked like they were going to give him a bit of an edge. But this LG has been the difference maker. He's hitting like 60% right now. He's got a gauntlet as well, so he doesn't even need to use his ammunition. It'll just cut him into pieces, looking like Wicked Skengman, because why not? Oh, living up to the Na'Vi name here tonight, Harry. Born to conquer, and he is conquering on Molten Falls.
These gauntlet kills are becoming a bit of a trend here, Jack. Every single
Mate,
time you cast this series.
You know,
Oh, lucky
I mean,
boy.
what? Razy had like 4-0 in his 1v1 boxing matches last night. Cypher straight in, pulling the gauntlet out, and you would be a bit tilted, just a little bit.
Just a tad, yeah. It
Just
wouldn't be
a
too much of
small bit.
Surprise.
Yeah, just a little bit of tilt.
5 seconds left. Ball rush comes out. Not going to do too much. Cypher still takes him down. Strafed around that ball rush, and there we have it, Jack. First map in favour of Cypher, 9-2. dramiS's pick, one of his best maps. Not going to be too happy, but it is early in the day.
It is an early start, right? So obviously coming into it, maybe it's still one of those, find his footing a little bit, trying to get in. But the risk you run, if that's the case, Harry, you immediately have to buff that out, right? You can't kind of roll with that anymore, because now effectively you've got a best of one to stay in versus Cypher. And Cypher looked pretty crisp as well. You exclude the first frag where it looked like effectively just plus backed out of the map. Other than that, doing a good C and Z impression, it was really clean.
It was like his goal was to get at least a decent frag lead, leave the totems as traps, but he left him in an orthodox position first to get the overstack, and then afterwards he put him in placements where he's got an indication of information of where he wants to go afterwards. So when he dropped it in front of the mega area, he then knew to rotate round to the rail and then maybe even contest them heavy if he could. And then later on in the later stages, 3 or 4 minutes left, played the range game, do the chip damage. Don't even need to go for the frag afterwards. Just make sure you keep him at bay, keep him in your corner. Make sure if he does try and go for you and he's actually trapped you in some way, then at least the stacks are very similar. You're right though, the first frag which dramiS had, that was so unlucky. So I've had full control of the stack, but that first rail just knocked him clean off the edge. And yeah, it's not really a great way to start, but then again, Cypher's the one who did an awesome finish.
Yeah, and this is pivotal as well. That was a really huge frag, right, towards the 8-minute mark, where we saw the swoop down on top of Mega from Cypher. It was a nice, decisive play. Very clean. Unfortunately, the lights went out for the man with a little Christmas tree in the background.
I like that. I love a good Christmas tree.
There's been a lot of Christmas. Strong uptake for Christmas on this stream.
Who was it with the hat? It was Effortless, wasn't it?
Effortless, yeah. He had the little CGI hat on.
That was just incredible. It definitely suited him.
It was a good way to get into the game. Good way to start, having a bit of that Christmas cheer.
Yeah, but dramiS, is not feeling cheery right now, especially after that first map. Oh, chat, look at that map presence. 4,086 damage in comparison to the 2,664 of dramiS in the rail game. 50%, very good from Cypher. The LG, 56. Yeah. Even though it gets a larger champion, still very good. Always had great angles from when he had to keep him at bay. But on dramiS's side, not the best, but then again, there's nothing much he could have done. He tried to charge, couldn't really get much of the ball rush either, but hopefully we'll see something a tad bit different in map number 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Hopefully so, because, again, we've said it a couple of times, dramiS is definitely a good competitor. It's just hard, though. Like, going up against Cypher as well, that looked pretty decisive into a few good portions of that map. When he needed to, when it came down to the split-second decision-making, he just got a bit of an edge, started to gain control, and just walked away with a huge win. Second map coming up now, though, and this one is interesting. Obviously, I think in terms of the amount of KOF games we've had, Harry, it's really not been much over the space of the entire tournament so far. So this will be quite tasty.
Yeah, I've seen literally no Tower of KOF games throughout the Pro League, and already I've seen about 3 or 4. And
yeah,
it's questionable on your approach on how you want to try and get this. Like, we've seen people even at having a disadvantage in terms of stack, hold their top mid spots above rail, or at least top heavy, just to keep themselves away, because there's so many places, not the fact that you can hide, but in terms of getting map positioning and angles, it's so important, especially when you're trying to go for that mega or trying to go for that heavy. At least that way, you haven't got the stack, you can't really contest it that well. If you get just one rail off, then that's going to be huge, and then you can keep the stack difference as even as possible. But we'll have to see here. dramiS needs to step things up. Cypher wasn't really playing that leery, wasn't even playing too aggressive, he just seemed to be playing quite patient. Wouldn't say reserved or passive, but just playing the reserve game like he should be. Will he do it this game? We'll have to see, but we'll have to go into map number 2. Will dramiS be able to equalise the map score, or will Cypher take this in a nice, fresh 2-0 as our first series of the day?
Oh, mate. Well, one of your favourite champions is in the server, Harry. Snorlag's made an appearance, but I'm sure this one won't be boring. I'm excited to see how Tower of KOF goes. We're 20 seconds in, already a bit of damage is being established. We're starting off on Cypher's POV as well, and he can certainly raise hell on this Anarchy.
Definitely going to try and avoid saying Snorlag, because I'll end up saying it again all those years ago. But Cypher has the slight edge in terms of the stack. Lets him hit the Mega, but not too much for his troubles. Took a lot of damage going for that. Still worth it though. Took the first rail. Misses the second though. Cypher, what does he want to do here? Still waiting for dramiS' first engagement. Oh, fantastic direct rocket. Slight miscalculation with the tri-bolt, but that doesn't matter. The damage has been done. He's found him. Will he be able to get him? No, he doesn't. Of course, with the saw lag, with the mobility, he managed to get away quite nicely. Gets to heavy. Still got a decent stack. Going for that top mid advantage straight away. Beautiful stuff from Cypher. Great way to go for the heavy. Takes down dramiS. Gets the mega. Stack advantage of Cypher. What's dramiS going to do next?
And when Cypher's LG's on, it's so scary to watch. His tracing's just unbelievable at times, and he's hitting some big shots right now. A lot of pressure being put on him though. dramiS in the close engagement, attempting to get the spit off, but the tick damage won't actually benefit him. Look how low he is as well. The shot he can be pulled out, and the side swipe as he takes the legs out from the dinosaur, drops her down to the ground, and gets a second frag already here. A kill a minute at this point for Cypher.
Cypher's LG at the start of the day looking very good. His aim, very calm and collective. You don't really see much shakiness from his LG at all. Drops down, caught dramiS off guard from behind. Will he be able to finish him off though? Yes, he does. 3-0 already on a map like Tower of Calf. Cypher's got plenty of experience on this map from scrims. But what's he going to do here? Sadly, misses the first rail. Will be at a stack disadvantage, but he needed that in order to try and take him down. Burns that light in case if he does damage dramiS quite heavily, and he won't be able to go for that straight afterwards. Misses a few rounds here, very uncharacteristic of Cypher, but what's he going to do now? He needs to try and get some height advantage here to then contest for this next item. Heavy's up, just been taken, Mega's up in the next 5 seconds.
Spots out the feet. Had a good read, but no opportunity to actually do the damage, so instead backs up, listening for the audio cues as well, trying to see if he can catch a peep off of this. Has an inkling of where dramiS is. As dramiS with the sheer momentum traversing around the map at this point. The angle's held, and the patience pays off as he will punish him. A couple of fadeaway nails as well. Cypher, worse for wear, as the response was clean from dramiS. He needs to back off. We've got Mega coming up in 2 seconds as well. He can also hoover up a few of those smaller items, but he's missed out on Mega. That has been snatched out. dramiS taking a heavy hit from the elevated angle. The rockets need to be clutch here at this point, though, when he's so low. dramiS getting a good response. Gives Cypher a taste of his own medicine as the LG's put to use against him.
dramiS so desperately needed that frag. Got it. Huge stack. Great amount of mobility with the saw lag. Just looking to see where Cypher could be. No contestation of Mega. He knows that he could play, playing the range game again as Cypher got that first rail. Good indication of where we could be. Try bounce up. Oh, he needs to get away. Luckily, he did with his life. dramiS will be prioritising the heavy. Coming up in the next 3 seconds. Making the assumption that he could be going for it. Great stuff from Cypher. Good rocket. Some good damage done. Good return rail. Misses a second, but the amount of damage Cypher's doing here, is he going to be able to clean up? He's only on 28 HP. One more rail will do it, but dramiS has come back one of his own, and that rocket jack. Phew! 23 HP.
Nice. Despicable stuff, though, of course, off the back of the spawn as well. dramiS is a big edge coming in. And he is looking cutthroat. Wants to try and slice Cypher in half, but Cypher wriggles his way out of the danger zone. And he comes back in as the main pilot. As he'll direct that shot straight into the face of dramiS. It was good damage to at least create some space. He can slow this one down a little bit as well. We're at the 5-minute mark and he's 3 frags up. Playing on top of the porter. Goes straight through. Has the LG to work with. And again, he's not missing. Luckily able to buff himself out as well so he doesn't take the tick damage to fall. Mega's right there waiting for him. That's the dream for Cypher.
Past the halfway mark on this first map. First round missed. Second one, didn't enough damage to keep Cypher at bay. Needs to continue with this range game. If he doesn't, it will be in a world of trouble. Cypher knows this better than anyone. Gonna contest a Mega from LG. Kind of wondering on the whereabouts of where we could be, but tending to rocket jump. Good stuff. Good bait from Cypher. Drops down anyway, misses the Mega, but if he managed to win this engagement, it could be huge. And still, Jack, still he takes him down. Unreal, but he's going to try and go for that heavy, which he grabs. Cypher, though, needs to get away ASAP.
Mate, fresh, hot piping of LG on offer. And dramiS, he's at the front of the queue. He's going back for seconds, Harry, over and over again. He's just like, oh, please, sir, can I have some more? It's like Oliver Twist, but rather than giving out soup, he's just got electricity.
Definitely giving out the damage. I'm telling you that right now. It's been absurd. Cypher still dishing it. And then give him some more if he can. Will he hit the next shotgun shot? Of course he will. 7-1 in favor of Cypher. Looking very strong heading into day number 2. Said it earlier, he's one of my top 5 picks to take this tournament. And he's really showing it. He's got the inject in his back pocket if he is in a world of trouble. He's going to use it now. Will he be able to get away? Just barely manages to be able to. Isn't vulnerable. Trying to get enough HP to redeem. And now what's he going to do here? He's going to try and go for this Mega, but it looks like dramiS gets it freely. Cypher sadly misses that rail, but gets to Rocket, gets a bit of damage done, but needs to be careful on this next engagement. Goes straight in front of him, but dramiS had the rail out, and Cypher still takes him down afterwards.
Oh, he does what he wants. He does what he wants.
He don't care, does he?
Mate, he's just not arsed. He just goes in there and ruins you. It's absolutely ridiculous. Cypher cleaning this one up. Ooh, saves himself as well. God, he had the boots with the big spikes on. Just was able to keep him on the ledge. He will eventually be slain as the shotgun's pulled out and he is pumped full of lead. But at this point, the dream is dead for dramiS. We're 7 minutes and 30 in. This is going to be a 2-0 for Cypher. In terms of the veto, it looked like there was a good opening opportunity for him to get himself into this series, but it didn't happen. And Cypher has quickly stamped this one out. It looks like we're going to have a fast way to start off the day.
Maybe Cypher was just trying to do an ollie before trying to go off the edge.
Are you telling me he was trying to turn vert on a half pipe, Harry?
Yeah.
Nightmare.
Yeah, I'm not a skater, but you know more than me. I know what a nollie is.
See you later, boy.
Yeah. He's going to be saying see you later to dramiS in the losers bracket at this point. There's only 2 minutes left. 6 frags needed. Cypher, though, still manages to get away. Very weak, though. dramiS has the angle, but will Cypher peek? He still peeks and gets heavy on top of that. Oh, a little bit of a stalemate there. That was not something you see every day. But Cypher still takes him down, does all that damage, all that high risk. Definitely gave him the high rewards. Not really necessary because he's got such a huge lead. He should be okay here, but still doing a tremendous job, just making life hell for dramiS. Will he get this Mega? Yes, he does. He'll try and clean up the LG, but decides to back away.
Now, the last minute of this is really just going to be Cypher living his movie. He is taking quite a lot of damage, though, but the rail straight to the face is clean. dramiS at least gets one more to make this scoreline slightly less one-sided. We find ourselves into the final 60, though. Shotgun's pulled out, the big Papa Pump, not getting the prize, as instead, it's a clean play from the Rocket. Doesn't make it to the Mega, though. So close, yet so far.
At least you tried. That's
all
the
that matters,
main thing.
Harry. It's just all about trying.
But he's going to be trying here again, and sadly it's not for him, but doesn't matter. Damage has been dealt. 40 seconds left. dramiS needs to try and find 5 frags. Will he able to? Highly unlikely, considering the size of the map. Respawn times, not going to happen, but he's going to continue on anyway. He did his best, just wasn't enough as Cypher got too much of a huge lead to begin with, but Cypher just been unreal at the first match of the day.
Yeah, no, Cypher cleaning up massively here. It's a huge result, right? You come in, you lock it down. I think it's fair to say, like, Molten Falls, even though the scoreline was a little bit more one-sided, that was actually a far closer game for what it was. In terms of the raw mechanics of it, it was a genuine tight affair. This time around, this has been just basically the Cypher show.
It has been, and there we have it. Cypher winning that 12-6, the entire series. Not what we expected, actually. You know, like you said earlier, we thought it was going to be a map number 3. The maps kind of felt like it was in favor of dramiS. That's, you know, the amount of pedigree of skill that Cypher has. It's just unreal, the raw talent, the natural talent he has. And he's looking very fresh and very good leading into day number 2.
Well, someone else who looks very fresh and very good, of course, is DJ Wheat. He'll be joining us again.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, amazing. I mean, you go back to map 1, Cypher's LG was 56%, and it was just nasty. It was nasty in the greatest way possible. I also just felt like, dramiS didn't play bad. Cypher just was playing incredible, right? Out of his mind. His LG just it locked nonstop. But there was like zero totem management coming out from dramiS, right? Like he was not, I don't think Scale Bearer really did much for him on that first map, and Cypher opened up damn near every battle with just an impeccable LG. So that, to your point, Lethal, definitely top 5 contender. Cypher's looking very, very nice. That was scary. Didn't matter what server they were playing on. He shot a 42% LG there in map 2. But again, like, I didn't feel like dramiS played bad. I think that Cypher just played incredible. So I'd be scared if anyone else is facing him in the upper bracket, which will happen. It's going to happen. In fact, as he moves on, right, he will face the winner of Rafa versus Garpy, which will set up a very interesting matchup there in the quarterfinals. But good showing, good way to start off. But yeah, Cypher just played like you need to be scared of him.
Oh, he just came out like a bat out of hell. And obviously, if that bat's then got 2 LG strapped to his arms, he's going to do a lot of damage because he just didn't miss. And you're right, like, to your point about the servers as well, right? On both servers, he was hitting basically the same accuracy with the LG, which is huge, especially in this sort of format with the cross-region play being in full force already now. It looks good for Cypher. It certainly bodes well for him to have a nice run through the bracket.
And do you see the map presence again? Just under 2,000 damage against one of the top players of the Americas. And you're right, though, dramiS didn't play bad. It's kind of the same as when we saw dramiS versus Cooler earlier on yesterday. Cooler didn't play bad. He still played out of his mind. It's just dramiS just had a field day. Like, he was playing fantastic across the board throughout the entire series. Same thing here. dramiS still played well, still had great angles, still, put the pressure on Cypher, but Cypher is just that damn good.
Yeah. And it could be debated. I think that you've kind of got to use LG against someone who's going to commit to LG the way that Cypher did, and we just didn't really see that from dramiS. I mean, even chat was saying, why isn't dramiS at least trying there? But so many just, strings of LG damage that just created I don't know, that shit's scary. I don't want to be on the receiving end of Cypher's LG. And that's going to be our first match to open up day 2 here of the stage 1 finals. And we're going to take a quick break. But when we return, it's going to be Base taking on Zanaku, another matchup to kick things off here for day 2. A lot of action all day long. We hope that you'll stick with us. Don't go away because we will be right back.